Sometimes when I'm thinking about us, before we got lost and we parted, back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight. This time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. Sometimes when I'm reasoning about us, I know you got me, it's so effortless. Back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight. This time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me?
We hear you typing. What's up, you guys? Welcome to the stream. I always unmute slightly before the end. Blunty was typing messages over on the Discord. How you doing, Blunty?
Good. How's it going, Joshua? Doing good
I'm
today?
doing good. Yeah. Rainy day today. No flying today.
Yeah, rainy here too, as a matter of
No
fact.
flying for us. At least you're done with the snow, right?
Yes. Well, we might get some surprise, but yeah, probably done.
Surprise snow. That's what you get for living in Denver. How about you guys? How's the weather where you are? Tell us in the chat. It's a YouTuber thing. Welcome to the news, everybody. Me and my co-host ItsBlunty are going to tell you all of the newsworthy things that happened in FPV this week. As a reminder, if there are any newsworthy items that you think we need to be covering, you should email news@fpvknowitall.com, which is linked down there. But we got some good stuff this week, Bunny. What do we got?
All right. So this week we're gonna cover AuLine, Goldline has recalled some defective batteries. They've actually responded to the issues that Cyclones had, and we've talked about. So we'll discuss that and what the recall entails.
Yeah. If you have AuLine batteries that are bad, there's some chance that they're going to give you a 2-for-1 replacement, but there's some restrictions.
Yeah, so RedCat has finally been IPO'd onto Nasdaq, so they are official. They went IPO for 4 million shares at $16 million. So yeah, pretty cool.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. The WeBleed series week 2 standings we'll discuss. We'll talk about the top 3 winners and where the series is at. Spoiler alert, we won again.
Oh man. I was gonna one of these weeks it's not gonna be you.
Yes, that's true. Statistically, that is probably true. All right. We'll talk about the 4th Mars flight for the Ingenuity copter and some new plans for how they're handling it. We'll talk about a seat on DRL you can win. The sim tryouts are starting May 10th. So just before the next show, you can get in and try to win a seat on DRL.
Yeah.
Speaking of DRL, it looks like they've joined the NFT gold rush.
NFTs. We'll talk about what NFTs are and why they're selling them and why you might want to buy them.
Yeah, if you want to buy this show as an NFT, send us an email to news@fpvnode.com.
It sure seems like NFTs are just a way to try to make money for something that doesn't exist, but I guess why is that different than anything else in this world? So, yeah, let's do it. DRL, NFTs.
ExpressLRS has a solution to use the controller as a Bluetooth gamepad. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. ExpressLRS just keeps adding new reasons to be excited about what they're doing.
Yeah. In our community spotlight this week, we have a head tracker that makes a plane fly with DJI like you're really in the sky. It's pretty cool. And we'll also talk about a drone that transforms its frame in flight.
Yeah,
that's pretty neat.
This one we're saving for the end. It literally just reshapes itself to go. Well, you'll see. It's a frame that with motors that reshapes itself while flying. It's pretty freaking amazing. So we'll save that one for the end. Oh wait, no, there's one more. Yeah,
and last but not least, we will have a rant for you. So we'll talk a little bit about some open source issues maybe with ExpressLRS, and we'll look at a video Pawel Spychalsky clipped out of his live stream.
Yep. Pawel went on a little rant, and then we're going to rant about his rant. What's better to as a source for a rant than someone else's rant? I do want to acknowledge to the chat, by the way, we got some updates on people's weather. It's raining in the UK, and it's sunny in Puerto Rico, so who would have seen that coming? I do know that Blunty's audio is crackling slightly. He's not clipping, as far as we can tell, and we tried to fix it before the stream, but we didn't quite get it sorted out. And hopefully it's not going to be too big of a deal, but we are aware of it. But we're not going to fix it. We're just going to charge ahead.
Yes.
Thank you guys for being here in the stream. If there is anything you want us to talk about, or if you have any questions, this isn't a Q&A stream per se, but you can hit the $sign down below the chat and leave a super chat. In the meantime, and by the way, thank you to everybody in the Discord as well, all the patrons in the Discord. If you want to, here, let me do my little thing. If you want to join these beautiful people over here in the Discord, hanging out, you can join my Patreon. Down in the video description, there's a link for as little as $2 a month, or more if you feel like I've earned it. Blunty, there was a question there that I wanted to get, and someone said, what are we? We're up to like 26 weeks, 27, in the 20s for sure.
I don't know. That seems high, but yeah, that's a lot of weeks.
Someone said when you started this, did you realize how much the Blunty was going to upstage you? I would say yes. I hope. I'm really glad it's worked out so well. You're a great co-host. I'm glad people like you. I like you.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Okay. Yeah. Good. Working through the technical issues still in week 25, but we'll get there.
Yeah. There's always technical issues, trust me. They never go away. But, okay, let's go into the first news item. And this one has to be first because anytime we do a news item where we talk about something bad that a company has done, it's really important we give just as much attention to the times when they try to make up for it. So catch us up, Blunty. What happened if people didn't see the previous weeks? As briefly as possible, catch us up on the situation.
So basically, Cyclone FPV is a vendor here in the United States, a small vendor. He had a bunch of his clients, customers, reach out and say that they had issues with some of their AuLine batteries. And so those batteries were testing really low, had poor cells, and he was wondering if the customers were breaking them or he was. He went on a live stream and tested a bunch of them. And during his live stream, he found that a lot of them were bad in a row, most of them out of a certain set of larger batteries. AuLine responded and said there were some test cells. They were accidentally sent to him, and they would send him a new set of cells to replace them. But we talked about it. It seemed like some people still had some issues. And now it looks like finally we have a response that's a little more fitting of what we would expect, at least. So they're saying that if any customer has these internal test cell batteries, you can identify by finding out if your battery is 38 millimeters in width, is from 1050 to 2000 milliamp hours, 4 to 6S, and it's got some dead cells or low voltage cells. And you purchased it before February 20th, 2021. So there's a lot of caveats here, but if you are in this category, which they think are the bad batteries, then they'll send you 2 brand new batteries if you send them screenshots and test photos.
Yeah. So on the one hand, I feel like, are we going to call them AuLine or Goldline? Whatever. I feel like they deserve some credit here because the original message that they sent seemed like they were saying that they would make dealers whole if dealers got bad packs. And I was like, well, what about the customers? And now they have said, and since I called them out, I'm not saying that they did it specifically because I called them out, but since I called them out, I also feel like I want to give them credit. They're saying anybody, no matter who you are in the world, if you have one of these cells, it's a bad cell, you should never have gotten it, and they're going to make it right. 2 for 1, not just replace the cell, but 2 for 1. That's cool. Yeah. On the other hand, we did hear from a lot of people when we said AuLine with bad cells, a whole bunch of people. And this might be true for any other battery vendor, who knows? But they said, I got AuLines and they were bad. And it sounds like they're only focusing on this exact one battery. And
yeah. It seems like they are pretty sure what the problem is. They seem to internally have a good idea of what they think the issue was, and so that's why they put this list of things out and reasons out. And that's why there's all these caveats. That being said, I think if you have a bad cell or you were sold a bad cell, I think you should contact the people you were sold them from and let them know and see how it works out. Maybe they'll get a bunch of messages and find out that a bunch of people had bad batteries, and they'll find another internal test cell batch that went out bad or something that went wrong. But again, at least they are doing good on this, and this would cover all the ones that Cyclone tested. I believe this also covers. There's another small FPV dealer here in Colorado who messaged me, and I believe it's covering their batteries as well. So
okay. So if you are affected by this, check your battery's width, check your battery's capacity. If it fits these criteria, contact info@auline.com and au-line.com, and you should be hopefully good to go, and they'll take care of you. And if you have dead AuLine batteries that don't meet those criteria, maybe contact them anyway. Like Blunty said, you never know.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Thank you, AuLine, for taking some steps, at least some steps, to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Next news item. So RedCat, the company that bought Rotor Riot. Well, first of all, RedCat came out of nowhere several years ago. They flew the Rotor Riot team out to Puerto Rico, where they're based, to make some episodes. We just made Rotor Riot episodes out there, but in addition, we interviewed and did some feature pieces on RedCat. And they said they were going to do like black box logs in the blockchain, some weird combination of blockchain, cryptocurrency. It never really made sense, and then it kind of went away. And then they said they were doing this tech support website, which still technically exists. Then they bought Rotor Riot. Then they bought Fat Shark. And now, what have they done?
So now they've officially, publicly, basically uplisted to Nasdaq. So they were publicly listed. You could buy them, but it was over the counter. And they were like a mid-over-the-counter stock, and now they've upgraded and put 4 million shares of common stock at a public offering of $4 per share onto the Nasdaq listing. So they are becoming more official, as one would say.
I mean, listed on the Nasdaq is the real deal.
Yeah.
Originally, they went public as an over-the-counter stock via a construct called a reverse merger. Which I'm certainly not a financial expert, but I think what it means is that you take a company that is publicly listed, and you don't want to do an IPO because IPOs are complicated and have regulatory requirements. So you buy the company that was already listed. It's like it's going to go out of business. You buy it, then you basically, now you're that company, and you just rename the stock ticker symbol, and now look, you're publicly listed. So some people have looked at the price history for RedCat, the ticker symbol, and it used to be like, 7 years ago, it was way high and then it went down. And they're like, but that wasn't even the same company. It was because it was down that RedCat was able to acquire it and then do the reverse merger. How's RedCat doing? Let's take a look.
I think it's right around the same price.
Let's see. RedCat Holdings, Inc. Hang on here. Stock price. Oh, finance.yahoo.com. Apparently Yahoo still exists. Let's see. 1 day, 5 days. Let's say a 1 year. When did they actually go public? I don't remember the date. It was more than a year ago, I'm pretty sure. Well, they've gone up since November. I don't know what this is. What am I looking at? This is 5 year. Okay, I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, so the beginning of that might be what you were talking about, right?
Yeah, but why is it just a flat? Why is it just a flat line?
Because it's just so small changes according to what the original stock cost.
Oh,
right?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it looks like it's doing pretty good now. It's at $3.8 though.
Yeah, about what it came out at. Pretty close.
So my big question here, Blunty, is like, let's look at their website for RedCat Holdings. Not RedCat. RedCat Holdings is the holding company that sort of is holds all of them. RedCat Holdings, investing in the future of drones. They've got their individual companies here, including DroneBox, encrypted storage and analyzation. Regulators don't have the tools to track or review flight data. Pilots need an easy-to-use system to become compliant with regulators. I read that and I thought, pilots are not going to look at how they did remote ID. They're not going to give us the option to not be compliant, but okay. What's their game plan? I guess is my confusion here. What's their game plan? What are they going to do?
It seems like their game plan is be a drone company. I don't know that they have any other goals than, hey, let's get a bunch of drone companies.
Yeah. Oh, they're succeeding at that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't decide. Investing always blows my mind. Sometimes these companies, they don't know what they're doing. They thrash around for a few years, then suddenly they blow up. But Mouse FPV says you can't fail if you don't have a plan. What? Yeah,
that's very true.
Well, anyway, if you want to invest in the future of FPV, you can buy some RedCat shares. This is not financial advice. I am but a smooth-brained ape. Have they ever made a profit? Yeah. I would speculate that Rotor Riot is profitable. And I would speculate that Fat Shark is profitable. I would speculate that the other companies, I don't know anything about Skypersonic, who they also bought.
If we're speculating, I would speculate that Fat Shark is not currently profitable versus the Sharkbite investment they made. And it depends on how much DivMath put into that, though. So
interesting.
But that's what, they've definitely put a lot into R&D and work for that kind of stuff, and then pushing a product launch and lineup and stuff. So maybe they are, but again, we don't know how much DivMath put into it versus them. But if they had I think if they put a lot into it, though, I would guess that they're not profitable. But that's kind of why you do this kind of stuff, is you have it all rolled under one umbrella, and then you report everything together. And yeah, I don't know. So I guess now that they're listed, I think we'll see, will we see earnings calls? Will we be able to get on an earnings call?
I don't know how these things work. That's how it usually works, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So buy some shares and get on an earnings call and find out. But anyway, now they've raised $16 million. So
yeah, that's very true.
All right. Good luck. Best of luck to you. I have no idea what your game plan is, but best of luck to you. All right, moving on. Blunty, last week we covered the WeBleed Whoop Racing series, and a virtual simulator-based whoop racing series by WeBleed FPV, who's based in Denver, same as you. And you guys,
he's based in New Jersey, I believe.
Oh, my mistake.
Yes.
It was a different race that was in Denver.
New York or New Jersey? Yeah.
Anyway, last week you won. How'd you do this week?
We won again.
Look at that.
Our team is the Gratuitous Violets. So yeah, we won again. 2 weeks in a row. So I just wanted to brag again, and I think we'll just do this weekly. Obviously, regardless if I win or not, we got to talk about it. So
Right.
you can see who won each week. Maybe we'll do it like that. So
And we'll keep covering it. I mean, eventually,
yeah.
maybe you'll win, like the
Yeah.
whole thing. So,
That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, so we beat out the Rabdalorians. They got second, and the Decepticyans got third. So yeah, it was a good race.
can people like watch your replays if they want to? Is there a link to somewhere they can watch, or maybe on Velocidrone?
Yeah, there's a perspective image is the YouTube or Facebook link. They're both the same perspective image. They stream a bunch of races and stuff, and I believe they'll have a stream recording of the show. But yeah, every week they live stream it as well. Have announcers and all that kind of stuff. So
Exciting, man. That's really exciting. We should put that in the show notes. I don't think we have the link for that. We just have the results. Let me get that added in real quick. They're based in Syracuse, New York. Says the comments. Okay. Yeah, we'll get that added in there so people can go check out your replay and see how fast you are.
yeah,
You're pretty fast. You're not slow.
just so maybe I'll say real quick, if you guys want to kind of see where everybody's at, there's a good way to do that is if you just go into the track editor in Velocidrone, you can download tracks. And if you type in AK, AYYY, KAYYY, you can search for all the tracks. And you'll get you'll get each week of track, and you can just download and race along with us. You'll show up on the same leaderboard we do, so you can see how you rank up.
Yeah, Gregory Hurst in the chat says, "Oh, it's a team thing. I didn't see anything about this. We covered it on the news. Don't miss the news. You miss stuff." All right, we'll get that link added. It's not there for now, but we'll get it added.
Yeah.
What's next, Blunty?
All right, so we've had another flight on Mars. The Ingenuity copter has flown again on Mars, and I thought this was pretty interesting because they are basically they've basically given up on using it. They didn't expect it to last as long as it did. They thought they were going to get 3 flights out of it, and that was going to be it, and it would break and not work. So now they're kind of just sending it. Is kind of how it's working?
Yeah, last pack. Every pack is their last pack, right?
Every pack is the last pack, yeah. So this one was really cool. They previously were 90 seconds in the air. So they were saying their motors heat up by 1 degree Celsius per second in flight because they have no way to actively cool it.
And there's no environment. There's very little environment.
Yeah, so basically they got a 117-second flight this time. They got 16 feet up. And they flew 436 meters out and back for 872-foot round trip. So 265 meters. And they were in the air for 120 seconds. So basically what they're doing now is they're saying like, hey, we didn't expect this thing to live, so let's see what this thing can do. So they sent it out really far. They want to do a scouting mission. They recorded 60 images that they're working to upload and put together and make maps. And they're going to try to do a terrain layout of what they saw. They took like a binocular picture of black and white. So they're going to check those out and see what those look like. Lots of different things they're going to test out here. But the other thing is they're going to try to plan ahead and find landing spots and areas for the rover to go with the copter.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be able to
scout
see otherwise. So, yeah.
It's so true. So many of the rovers have been like this too. I can't remember I think it was Curiosity. The original plan was like 3 weeks or something, and then it went for like a year and a half. I mean, I'm sure I'm getting the exact dates wrong, but I remember one of the rovers was just kept going and going and going. And just doing research, so they seem to design things well over there. Over at least NASA guys, they seem to know what they're doing.
Yeah. So speaking of know what they're doing, I thought this was really cool. So they got up there, and it turns out the first time they tried to arm this thing, the reason it took so long is because it didn't arm. It wouldn't fly at all. And what the upload and change of firmware that they did, turns out what they're doing is they're actually flipping bits in RAM. But they're doing it at the end of a clock cycle before the next clock cycle, and they're doing it faster than the clock will see it, and change on the drone basically, and then that way the drone will think it's basically the drone will think it's on the next packet, but it'll have the RAM data from the previous packet, and it will get an arming flag and arm because otherwise the arming was not working. So they had to trick the RAM into getting an arming flag into RAM.
They sent it all the way to Mars, and when it got there, it wouldn't arm. I mean, I guess we've all been there. You get to the you take out your and it won't arm. You won't know. Chris Blair says, if only DJI would enable the warning OSD element, then they would be able to know why it's not arming.
Yeah.
I don't think they're using DJI to go to Mars.
It's really fascinating what they're doing. So they've actually only had that fail once out of 5 flights for their flip bit process. So seems to be working. They're rolling with it. But I thought it was also cool. They talked about the way they take off and land, is all they do is they send a really strong thrust signal and it throws the drone in the air, and then they do control. And then so they take the control over once they send the strong thrust signal, get it up, because they can't decide like how to thrust. And then when it goes down, it just descends at a meter a second. And when they see the accelerometer change, that's when they turn the drone off.
They just know that they've landed.
Yeah.
1 meter per second is pretty slow, I guess. So.
Yeah, it's interesting the ways they kind of make it work. But
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
flying
cool stuff. So I'll just say they're expecting to get another flight in the next like 20 days. They're moving over to like mainly rover support. So it'll be like a little bit of copter stuff and mainly rover stuff. But they're going to try to get one more flight in 30 days and just continue to like push it and see how far they can take it. So
nice. Well, as long as they're flying it, we'll keep reporting on what they're doing. It's pretty freaking cool. From flying a drone on Mars to flying drones in giant stadiums. DRL. The DRL tryouts have started, or will start, rather, on May 10th. You need to have the DRL simulator, which is available on Steam. So, obviously, you have to buy that. And then you can compete in their tryouts, run your way all the way up to leaderboard. And eventually, I think if you make it to the top of the leaderboard, then they do a live in-person event, or at least they used to. I don't know if they're still doing that with the whole COVID thing, but you can win a seat.
Yeah, they're also doing Xbox, I think, so you can qualify on Steam or Xbox. So.
Oh, nice. So even if you don't have a computer, you can do it on Xbox. Probably with an Xbox controller, though, unfortunately. So that's a shame.
I think so, yeah.
So if you're interested in trying that out, that's how Vanover got his seat. That's how Evan Turner, heads up FPV, got his seat. And so they're opening up another seat. Is someone leaving? Or are they just adding a new pilot?
I'm not sure.
Because they kick one guy off.
I don't know if they rotate the bottom out or what happens there, how that works. But
go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I will be competing. I'm sure I won't be anywhere near the top, but I will be competing and letting you know how bad my times are. So I think you did a video last year where you did some runs to see how well you did.
Well, I co-hosted one of their tournaments. I don't know if it was the actual. I thought as long as I was going to co-host, I should at least like put a time in. It was really fun. The way that the Racer 4 handles, you basically run the whole track at full throttle. And so it forces you to learn how pitch, roll, and yaw change the throttle, the quadcopter's dynamics. So I'm looking up if DRL is free or not.
I don't think so.
I don't think it. No, it's $10. Somebody said, "Isn't it free?" I just want to make sure I got that right. It's $10. So when you basically have to run at full throttle, I mean, you don't have to, but if you don't run at full throttle, you're going to lose. That forces you to figure out other things about how to manage the quadcopter's dynamics, and it's pretty cool. Gregory Hurst, Evan got on. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Evan and Vanover got on DRL by winning the multi-GP championships. They didn't win the simulator champ. That's my bad. You're absolutely right about that. I got mixed up there. Who did get on there last year by winning? Who was his name?
I know offhand, I just don't remember.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, dude. Whoever you are. Amari and Fluxy were the sim winners.
There
Thank
you go.
Claymore
Thank
FPV.
you.
And thanks, Amari and Fluxy. Sorry about that, guys.
Yes. Cool.
Okay.
So
I only know these people's names if I meet them in person. I'm embarrassed to say. Fluxy is out there. It's like, I met you. Oh shit! I have no excuse. I don't know. Go ahead.
So speaking of DRL, DRL is also in the news because they have joined the NFT gold rush.
Oh, NFTs.
They've got some NFTs for sale.
Wow, an NFT, you say? Well, I'd take my money. So, yeah, here's their NFTs that they're selling, like this one.
Yeah, if you wanted to own moments such as a time-lapsed Racer 4 build,
I can own that?
you can own that.
For
Right now for as little as 12.13.
The reserve price not met. You don't say. What can we try, Blunty? I know that we're going to make people cringe who know about these things. Can we try to explain to the audience what an NFT is? Non-fungible token.
Non-fungible token, yeah. An NFT is basically a digital piece of art that you're paying to have the rights to. The thing that I am not aware of with NFTs, and maybe somebody can explain, is that I don't know if the rights work like a copyright right, or if just like a, hey, I have a right to have this file.
I watched a video on Quarter Crew's channel. Quarter Crew do digital art and stuff, and they did a video about what an NFT is. And one of the things they did talk about is obviously you can structure the NFT however you want, but in general, the artist retains copyright. So the way it seems to me is, let's say I've got a painting, and I'm going to say that you own the painting. I'm going to keep the painting, but it's going to be yours, and I'm going to sell you the official ownership of my painting. Except instead of a painting, it's a digital thing that doesn't have any. See, the problem that NFTs solve is that digital things can be copied infinitely and don't have a physical representation. Some would see that as an advantage, but if you're an art collector or an art dealer, you see that as a bug and you want to fix it.
Right.
So what?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. To be honest with you, I don't get it, but I think it's just like somebody in the chat mentioned, I think it's a tax scam.
all art collection is at the highest levels a tax fraud, a tax scam. So what they've basically done, like I could say, my first build video, I'm going to sell an NFT on my first build video, and what that means is you will officially own the NFT from my first build video. Yeah, wouldn't that feel good? How much would you pay for that?
Right. Said, but you. What have you said? You've said nothing. What will you own?
You'll own nothing. It's like buying a signed print. That's a good analogy, Woods FPV. If I create a print of my art and I sign it and I say this is a limited edition, I am not going to. It's not the original. It's a signed limited edition, and I'm going to sell it to you. Right. What about what's unique and valuable about that is my signature that I, the artist, have validated it, and an NFT is just a digital way of doing that.
So when I get the NFT, though, is there like some kind of like private key I get so that I can prove that I own it?
Well, it's true.
Because then it's like if you get a signed painting, you have the signed painting, right?
Yeah. So here's where we butt up against the edges of our stupidity. But the transactions and the ownership are tracked on the blockchain. So presumably it's a public-private key pair. And in the same way that someone would give you a Bitcoin and your private key authenticates your ownership of that Bitcoin, your private key authenticates your ownership of this NFT.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes a little more sense. At least you own something, even if it's digital and not a physical thing.
So here's what happens though. Like the one that I learned about was this artist named Beeple, who is a massively popular digital artist, and he's done a project where he does one piece of art a day for years, and he just makes one original piece of digital art every day. And he sold a giant collection of his art. All of it was already available on Instagram. You could just download it. It's no big deal. But he sold the NFT, and he made something like $60 million overall. He made a ton of money because he had never done this before. And this art was very valuable and very desirable. And he was very desirable as an artist. But now you've got, people are just saying, oh, you know what? Hey, remember that time we built the Racer 4? Wouldn't you like to own that? Yeah, okay. Hey, remember that time we raced? Yeah, okay. There's all these things, it feels like they're stretching, and these aren't as, I don't want to sound like I'm just shitting on DRL, but it just feels like, let's see if we can sell some NFTs. Nobody is crying out for NFTs of that time we launched the Racer AI. I don't know. What do you think, Blunty?
I think that's probably true. I mean, I guess we'll see what they sell for.
Yeah, but, I guess so.
I don't expect them to go super crazy, but yeah.
Well, it's all the launch. Plus, it's all the launches. Like, I
Right.
guess, like, I don't know. Maybe they're doing this and I just don't see it. Like, view all. But, like, where is, so-and-so wins the such and such season? That's a historic, like, that's a moment someone might pay for. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway. Got to sell some NFTs. Let's sell NFTs of each of our news episodes, Blunty. You can own the news episode from May 4th, 2021.
You send your bids in to news@fpvnode.com.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of money, somebody asked in the chat, where's Blunty's tip jar? And you should plug Blunty's Patreon. Do you have a Patreon?
I do. Yeah. Patreon.com/ItsBlunty.
Oh, well, we should definitely put that. I'll add that to the video description. I would also like to say, you can always just leave super chats. Blunty and I have an arrangement that we're both happy with, without going into too many details. But you provide a lot of value to the show, and I certainly don't expect you to do it just for exposure. So
Yeah.
definitely get that added to the video description, though. Okay, moving on. What do we got next?
Yeah. So I thought this was pretty cool. Alessandro from ExpressLRS sent me over a video today. He got he got the TX module, the ExpressLRS TX modules, any of them that use ESP32 to connect wirelessly to your computer as Bluetooth for a gamepad. So, and that's the same thing that'll work with Android, anything like that that uses Bluetooth, and you can use basically joystick controller control.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here is the ExpressLRS Lua script on his Tyrannus QX7, and you see he's got an option here for Bluetooth joystick. I think the key thing here is that this particular chip that's being used on the ExpressLRS receiver has Bluetooth built in, basically. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. The ESP32s have Bluetooth, so yeah, they just found a way to hook it all up, get full resolution, and latency is the same as wired over testing.
Happymodel 1.
Pretty cool.
DIY.
Yeah, let's listen to him talk about it and demonstrate it for a second.
So basically what it does is it emulates a USB joystick using nothing but the existing hardware. So I go Velocity in here. It's not on now. I can turn it on.
Yeah, binds to the computer.
Oops, try again.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
And boom,
And it's
wireless.
And
Pretty
this is
frickin'
just
brilliant.
like a USB gamepad, a Bluetooth gamepad. It'll work with the computer, it'll work with the phone, it uses Bluetooth.
Yeah, very cool.
Low energy.
It's another example of like ExpressLRS development, just moving forward, full steam ahead, knocking out things they think are cool.
Yeah.
I think somebody just was like, hey, this would be neat to do. And I know Alessandro races on the sim a lot, so I imagine this is pretty much for him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's the kind of thing that would make you go, oh, that's going to be the tiebreaker for me. Like, there are bigger issues that would make you choose one control link over another, like price, which we'll talk about in our final segment. But if you already had it, it would be really nice and compelling. And it's really cool that it's there. Like Crossfire has Bluetooth built in. Not all of the Crossfire modules. At least one of them does, the big one. Could they have done this?
I don't know.
Yeah. Aerospace Inc. says, I'm glad you guys don't understand NFTs, neither do I. I feel like the analogy of the signed print makes the most sense. But
Yeah. I think knowing it's logged in the blockchain at least makes a little more sense.
Does it? When has adding a blockchain to anything made it make more sense? All right. So that's pretty cool. So these new Happymodel transmitters, are they ESP32 based? Will they have this
Yes, they
feature?
are. Yep.
Oh, that's exciting. Awesome. All right, Blunty, what's next?
All right, so we got a community spotlight this week. It's going to be Andre FPV, and he has this cool project. I think he's calling it the Mini-Me, but it's basically, he's got this little dude in a plane, and he's got a Caddx Vista with the DJI camera as the head of the guy, and then he's got servo control with a head tracker controlling the view of the guy in the plane.
And I've seen RC planes before with a little pilot holding a control stick, so it looks in the FPV camera like you're a pilot. But and I've also seen gimbal operated head trackers, but this is really, really well done. Whole thing is
Yeah, I
really
thought-
well done.
Yeah, the quality is really good. He even made it, he's even got the little panel there, and it just works really well. It's really cool. Really cool to see. And then he's got it on a pretty big plane too, just flying it around. So I just thought it was neat little project he did.
I gotta wonder, because the DJI goggles don't have a head tracker built in. So has he built like a standalone accelerometer or
I
something?
think he's using, there's a third-party project, but I'm not sure. I could not find him listing the actual project he used.
Yeah, I love how they've got it out in front. A lot of times they'll put the camera right there on the gimbal, so as it swivels, it'll just kind of pivot in place. But having it out in front of the gimbal the way he has means that when he leans over to the side, he really leans over and can look down below the plane. It's pretty well done.
And you can see too, he's actually got his control stick in there too. So yeah, pretty cool.
Brilliant, freaking brilliant. I love it. Mad Max FPV says the lag will make him very dizzy. I mean, if there was a place where the lag of DJI was not going to matter as much, it's going to be in like a wing. I think he's maybe talking about the head movements. If the camera doesn't match your head movements.
Maybe. Yeah, I think I saw a video with Andy RC, I think, doing head tracker stuff, and he seemed like he was digging it, so, with DJI.
Zimurgi JTW, thanks for a $5 super chat. Does your FPV crate come with JB's signature spray tan? Do I look like I use spray tan?
No, you look like you go outside.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I definitely don't spray tan. I'm naturally pale. All right. Coming up toward the end, we have got a drone that transforms itself in flight. Blunty, why don't you talk to us about this? Well, I'm just going to play the freaking video. Unreal.
So this is I believe this is a college project. There's a paper that's linked down in the video descriptions of some of these videos. But basically they built a 4-motor, basically the whole project is multi-positioned motors attached to each other that can articulate the actual frame body, but maintain flight while they're articulating the frame. I can't imagine the amount of math that's going on in that motor mixer.
Yeah, the mixer has to be dynamic, that it's keeping track of, let me find one where so there it was flying through a gap, but it had to be in a part, and that's autonomous flying, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's autonomous, and it's basically, it seems like it's as curled up as it can be to still get through the gap so it can fly more stable. But this is really cool because this is basically, it's doing planning ahead of time to know how to fit through this hole. So it knows like, hey, I've got to move this plate, and it can do that by calculating like where the plate is and how it moves. And it actually moves the plate with the drone.
So it's using its own frame as a pushing arm while it's flying.
Yeah, and it's actually doing it to clear a space for it too, which is even cooler. So this is like, you could imagine this doing search and rescue or something.
This is insane.
So now they've manipulated the plate out of the way, and now it's going to go through the hole that it made.
Oh my God, I didn't actually see this clip. The whole thing is a quadcopter. It's like a freaking Chinese dragon.
Yeah.
A very, very,
4X,
very slow Chinese dragon.
4x speed, but yeah, just insane like how they do that.
Unbelievable.
That's all calculated on the drone too. I think that was important in the project. So the drone does all the work on the drone. It's not like pre-planned.
Unbelievable. I just want to watch this. It's going to move it. It's going to move the manhole cover out of the way. And then it's going to come up through the manhole into your bunker and kill you. You know, one of the reasons that quadcopters and multirotors are desirable for example, search and rescue and other types of operations. I mean, you think the flight time is so short and there are so many challenges with flying. Wouldn't you rather just use like a wheeled or a tracked rover? But there are so many challenges because floors aren't nice in real life. A lot of times floors are messy, they're uneven, they have all kinds of challenges, and there are all kinds of scenarios where a flying craft is actually ideal. But there are all kinds of this addresses many of the challenges with a flying craft, which is getting through spaces and so forth, and interacting with the environment. It's insane.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. Just super impressive the work they've done here, and like we said, the amount of just calculation and math that has to go into this.
The mixers just, I mean, they have to be recalculating the mixer in real time.
Yeah, and later in this video too, they actually go they do like manipulation with it and stuff. I just can't. Yeah, it's hard to fathom the amount of stuff.
If you think about it, they also have to avoid certain shapes. For example, if they were to go into a straight line, then they would lose roll axis authority. So they have to always make sure that they have authority on all the axes. Oh, no, you are not going to pick this box up. They're going to pick this box up, but just by gripping it. What in the... Let's see, it's crazy. That's crazy.
It's really quite impressive.
Wow. All right. Well, that's coming. Fabio says Boston Dynamics has joined the chat.
in our ever-evolving series on ways drones will eventually take over.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, knowing a little bit about how flight controllers work, just thinking about all the stuff that goes into making this is really ridiculous.
Yeah, imagine PID tuning that.
I like the vibrations of the frame. The frame has to have such terrible vibrations.
I'm sure.
It's just a straight line. It doesn't have any reinforcement or trussing. So
I wonder if there are like special considerations you make on something like that, because you know like the latency is going to be longer to the gyro because you've got to do a bunch of filtering and stuff, or you like have extra processors just for filtering. I don't know. Super interesting.
Yeah, crazy. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got one more thing today. We are gonna. This is our rant section. In our rant, Blunty, you came up with this. Why don't you tell everybody what the rant section is? It's your section.
So the rant is just where we express our frustration with whatever's going on in the FPV industry that we don't think is proper. Maybe we can change some hearts and minds, and also just go a little off the cuff and rant away. How we feel about stuff.
That's how I think of it. Like, I would rant about something that I maybe didn't necessarily disagree with or think was bad, but I would just be a little more off the cuff and a little less. So we're going to watch a video from Pawel Spychalsky, and then we're going to react to it and talk about our thoughts about it. And Pawel this was from his live stream. Please don't copy strike me, Pawel. I don't think he will. We're just going to play this. Why Happymodel ES915 is so cheap. He's talking about the ExpressLRS and Happymodel's ExpressLRS modules, which are super cheap. Let's listen to this. Blunty, are you going to be able to hear the audio? I don't think you are.
I got it. I'll just do at the same time as you. No problem.
Okay, here we go.
Be a material. I wanted to record a separate video, but I never did. ExpressLRS. Very popular topic recently. People are making videos about what is ExpressLRS, how to flash ExpressLRS, how fantastic is the ExpressLRS, and how great it is, because you can use it with this kind of hardware, this kind of hardware, this kind of hardware, and this kind of hardware. And I really do I admire the persistence of the users of the ExpressLRS that are like sharing that they are evangelists of the project. This is good, maybe slightly sometimes irritating, but still is good. However,
okay, I was totally with him there, that the ExpressLRS fans are enthusiastic but also sometimes annoying. Blunty, you got anything to say about that? you gonna pass?
They like the products.
They do.
I don't think anybody's ever. I think most of us at some point have gone, man, these TBS fanboys are crazy. It's everything. You know.
These DJI fanboys are crazy.
Yeah, people get behind a good product. That's what I would say.
Okay, good enough. All right, let's keep going.
I saw very interesting thread somewhere on the Facebooks and the group that after seeing that kind of crap, I decided, okay, I'm not participating in that group anymore. Paweł is leaving. That people there is this company, Happymodel, yes, Happymodel, that are making the ExpressLRS specific hardware. They are building basically the hardware to this Happymodel ExpressLRS ES950, and I have to connect my keyboard right now to the to the power because it's discharging. And you can get it for like 20, maybe not, maybe let's say around the $50 with the transmitter and the receiver. And there was a thread that people started to compare this with, for example, Ghost, which is like 150 for the transmitter and 3 receivers, saying that it makes absolutely no sense to buy anything other than the ExpressLRS, because ExpressLRS in the version of the Happymodel is so cheap that you have to be really stupid to buy anything else when the ExpressLRS is so amazing and so cheap, and just buy it. And I do have to raise a question. And how much did the Happymodel invested in the software development of the software they are using? In how much they invested in the know-how how to do it? How much have they paid the developers to develop the firmware for them? And how much of the income from the manufacturing of this hardware will be then given to the people that came up with the ExpressLRS and most probably spent a shitload of time while
Okay, so I'm going to pause him there because I think we're starting to get to the gist of his argument. I don't know what Blunty. I get where you're coming from. That whenever someone is benefiting financially from someone else's work, it feels like that's unfair and might be abusive. But isn't the whole nature of open source software, at least under most open source licenses, that it can be used commercially without compensating the developers, and developers know that going into it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the typical method. I think there are some situations where developers have worked out deals with software companies. I think I remember, I can think back to your AM32 interview, where you interviewed the developer at AM32, and he had some small amount of money change hands from Diatone. But other than that, it was just kind of not even, it wasn't an amount like that was to pay him off. It was just some amount to say like, hey, you need to give me something, which was basically nothing. To me, this is very much like that, where like there wasn't anything changing hands, but even if there was, maybe some hardware sent to people or whatever, like that's a very small amount, and it's an open source project, and they're developing hardware for it, and they're working together. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't. It's open source for a reason.
Yeah.
Like,
Brandon RC in the Discord says we, and I assume he means the ExpressLRS devs, and feels like he is qualified to speak for them. Brandon RC says, we do not accept money from companies. We accept donations. We do not want money from companies. Brandon RC, spent my free time, and I don't want compensation for my ELRS dev work. We just want to make the best radio protocol for everyone and want companies to make their hardware for nothing. More companies, the better. Yeah, they're like, it's confusing because the ExpressLRS devs explicitly are saying, it seems, that they are happy to contribute this, and they're happy that Happymodel is doing it, and they don't care. At which point, why is Pawel mad about that? But then you also have to wonder, he's the lead iNav dev. Does he get paid by Maytech and Holybro? I mean, maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't work for free. Does he?
Yeah, I don't know. To me, the point of it is, well, let's get it finished, and then maybe we'll respond to, do we want to do that?
Sure, go. Oh, you want to watch the rest of it? Sure, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure we get the whole thing.
Perfecting this
so we know what he
software.
says.
How much? I don't know, because nobody showed me any bill ever. However, I have a strong suspicion that their research and development budget was zero, absolute zero. And to be honest, if it was me who developed ExpressLRS and now people are selling hardware and making money of my heavy work that went into making this software possible, I would not be probably the happiest person ever. Maybe, and I hope so, I really do hope so, that there is some kind of the agreement and the Happymodel pays something like the royalties to the people that developed this. And maybe, let's hope this is the case. So before you will ever say that ExpressLRS is so amazing because it's so cheap, please do remember that it's based on the open source, and the company that's making any profit out of it most probably paid absolute zero for the development of the thing. And
Okay. Go ahead. What did you want to go on to say?
Well, so I wanted to say that there was actually a message, there's a comment on that video from Delta Geek, and that is the developer of ExpressLRS, Alessandro. And he says basically, I can answer this question. I started ExpressLRS. It is and will always be a passion project. Yes, vendors have sent us development and pre-release hardware, but no money has ever been exchanged. The only profit ever made from this project are a few $100s from the donation link on GitHub. No vendor has anything to say in the future of this project. It is completely community driven. I spent thousands of my own dollars at this point in buying hardware and gear for development and testing, and I don't care. It was never meant to turn a profit. We actively encourage Happymodel to release hardware and even provided them reference designs from our own DIY gear. Not everyone here is here to make money. We are here for the love of FPV.
I feel like, and this is, people are making this point in the comments and in the Discord, that Pawel kind of had 2 points. And one of them was, before you criticize Ghost and Crossfire and Tracer for being so expensive, they're ripping you off. Remember, nobody donated thousands of hours of development time for free to them. They had to do it by themselves. And that's just, I mean, so be it.
Sure.
Then the flip side, he also has argued about this before, that open source developers, no, he hasn't. This is what's so confusing about this. Didn't he make an argument that open source projects shouldn't take money because how are you going to distribute the money? Who gets the money? Didn't he make that argument?
I don't remember that one offhand, but what I'll say is, like, it seems to me like the reason this is cheap is not because people aren't getting paid on accident. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the reason this is cheap is because a lot of people worked for free to make a cheap solution that is DIY and available for everyone.
That's a feature, not a bug.
It's exactly. This isn't like something to say like, hey, you should know this before you buy the product. It's like, hey, they all knew this, so they helped the product get made. You know, and now you have a cheaper option. Now you have an open source option, and maybe it's not as polished as the other things, and maybe it's not closed source development, but there's different. There's different pros and cons.
If you're going to release a video that says the real reason why the Happymodel ES915 is so cheap, big expose, tune in at 9, and you're expecting it to be because it's shitty, and you shouldn't use it, and it turns out because here it is, guys, the big reveal: a whole bunch of enthusiastic people donated their time to develop a good project for free so that you could have it cheaper. How dare they?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so like you said, I think that's a great way to put it. It's a feature, not a bug, 100%.
DC says, I don't think he's advocating for free open source taking money. He's just explaining why there's zero R&D overhead. I feels like that's some of it, but it also feels like he's a little mad about it.
Well, sure. I mean, he definitely said, like, I would have liked to have been paid, and I hope they get money from it.
Yeah.
So to me, like, that's a stance,
But he also, thank you, Lava Chemist, the Free Sky OSD thing. Remember when there was the accusation that Betaflight devs were going to take money to put Free Sky OSD in the project, which, by the way, if they did, more power to them. If a vendor wants something and they want to pay for it, more power to him. But then he was like mad about that because if some devs are making money and other devs aren't, and the open source project is built on everyone's free work, so how dare one dev take money for it? But now he's like, oh, I hope these guys were getting paid. It seems contradictory.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I think that the thing to know here is that, like, yes, they're not getting paid, and if you want to help them out, you're welcome to do that, and there are donation links on the ExpressLRS pages. But they did this on purpose. Their goal is not to make money. Their goal is to make a great radio link and a cheap system for everyone. So.
All right. Well, thank you. By the way, thank you, Pawel, for letting us use your rant to rant off of. Obviously, I have the greatest respect for Pawel, and he contributes a lot and is a very valuable member of the FPV community. And none of this is intended as a personal insult or slight against him.
Yeah,
just
and that
an
was
opportunity to rant a little bit.
And that was a clip from his live stream. So he does do a live stream. If you want to go check out Pawel's live stream on his channel.
We'll put that in the links in the show notes. So.
Yes.
All righty. Well, guess what? We've done it again.
Yes.
Another hour of your life wasted watching the FPV news. We'll be here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. In fact, 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be going to Rampage, but that will not affect our schedule because I think I'll be back from Rampage on Monday. So our Tuesday show will not be affected. Blunty, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Joshua, very much. As we said at the beginning, as we say every time, if you guys have any news, please let us know. News at fpvknowitall.com. Also, like, if you've got events or if you've got, like, cool stuff that happened or, like, whatever it is, man, just send it over and we might put it on. So
yeah,
we'd love to hear from you.
For sure. Blunty, link to his channel is down in the video description, of course. And that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. We will see you next week. Yeah. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, crap. I was super chat.